Welcome, coaches, to the Coaching Magic Podcast, where we reveal, discover, and create the insights, tools, and aha moments that make your coaching seem, well, magical. I'm your host, Jill Young, and I invite you to listen up, giddy up, and buckle up as we play with this creative profession of coaching that helps humans become their best, including you. Today's episode is unique in a handful of ways. The first way it's unique is I'm interviewing Travis Richards, who is not a professional coach, but a former client of mine. And we are geeking out really on, again, a unique topic around his product that his company offers, which is catalytic heaters. Now, what in the world do catalytic heaters have anything to do with coaching magic? Well, these heaters, they are flameless, and so they are used in the oil field to keep the oil and the gas all moving. When that oil and that gas freeze up in pipes, we need a catalytic heater solution to thaw the pipes. We compare and we contrast how energy flows in humans and how energy is flowing with both his product and in his company. So listen in, coaches, for this very unique twist, unique episode of Coaching Magic. Enjoy. Okay, I'm excited for this because coaches, you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking, who is Travis? Travis is maybe not a professional coach, but mind you, he is a coach. He's got it. He's got it in his DNA. But Travis is a former client of mine, and he has a company that is all about energy. And of course, in Coaching Magic, what do we do in Coaching Magic? It's one of our elements of Coaching Magic. Boom. Energetic listening. And he's laughing. Yeah. He's laughing. I love this. This is so great. So, Travis, if you remember, will you remind me and tell our audience where we came up with this?
So, as I recall, in one of our many energetic conversations, and if you're talking to Jill, is there any other kind? We were just riffing as you and I often do, and Catco, our passion is empowering people through energy resilience. And so, we have a company that makes products that helps energy, like literal energy, like oil and gas, get out of the ground through pipelines and into people's homes and businesses and power plants and all that. And so we were just talking about how what a turning point it was for our company when we realized that we are in the energy business. And it's like we are all about, that's what we care about, because we care about getting energy out of the ground, out of its source, and to the people that need it. And then Jill, as she has a thing for doing, is just like, dude, I am also in the energy business, because it's like, and it's really, the more that we riffed on it, the better the analogy got, because really it's like when you're talking about coaching, you're talking about people management, you're talking about leading a team. Really, that's what it is all about, is that you have these people that are this huge source of energy, and your job as a coach, as a leader, as a boss, whatever you call yourself, is all about releasing that energy and helping it get from its source to, its ultimate destination. And so, I mean, it totally fit. It was like, one of those things, if we sat down and brainstormed about like, hey, how could we make this about energy? We could have come up with something corny and stupid, but it was like, it was so sincere, so legit. And when I was telling the team today that I was like, hey, I'm about to do a podcast with Jill and this is what we're talking about, I was just reminded of how great of an analogy that is. Because it's like, that is really ultimately leadership. That is what you were trying to do, is it's about releasing and directing the energy that comes from your people.
That was such a good summary of our long walk at the EOS conference of when we came up with this. And the coaches who listen to this podcast, who go to Coaching Magic School, they all know that I am a science geek. Yep. And but I'm also like, I can take some risks with how I apply the science in the way that I think the science is saying it's happening.
Some
I always
some liberty
appreciate
some
you.
some liberties occasionally with how
I
things are
take some,
working. Yeah,
yes, I take some liberties with science. But it's just as I remember you and I geeking out on this and just having this flash of insight of yes, it is all the same. And Travis and his company run on EOS. I was their EOS implementer for a time, and we talk about in EOS focusing your energy. And in the story that we use when we just try to help a team, maybe for the first time,
Mhm.
think about the power of focus. We talk about harnessing the energy of the sun.
Yep.
If the energy is spread out everywhere, like it is most of the time when we take a walk, the most we get is a sunburn. Now,
Mhm.
don't get a sunburn, wear your SPF.
Yeah.
But if you take just a few of those kilowatts of energy and you focus them, which one of my clients who has a German accent, he says, we must focus, focus, focus. Like, yes,
Yes.
focus,
Yes.
focus. Translator. We take a few of those kilowatts of energy and we focus them, then we get a laser.
Yeah.
We can cut through steel and diamonds. And this power of focus comes, I just love this analogy. It came right from the sun. And
Yeah.
that's how we teach it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm,
it's just like it's, you know, like you said, is that it's whenever I was in the Air Force, it's like, we used to have people that were kind of that were not focused on their energy. We used to say it's like this guy's all thrust and no vector, right? It's like you're just kind of, it's like, you got somebody that's just like, it's like they're out in outer space, and I was a satellite guy. It's like they're out in outer space and they're just like blasting around all over the place. But again, it's like just whenever you apply that focus and you get it going in the same direction, that's where the magic is when you're doing
exactly.
that. Yeah.
The energy is being released.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
is being
Yeah.
released. We are humans. We expel energy all the time. I just turned 50. I'm having a hot flash. Probably not right now, but guaranteed I'll have one in the next hour or so. And we do. We release this energy. We release energy with words. We release energy with a look, like
Mhm. Yeah.
good or bad,
Mhm.
positive or negative. But getting that energy focused is so, so useful. And that's what coaches do. We try to help get all of the human energy aligned, simplify, clarify, get it aligned, and moving in the same direction for sure.
Yeah, and it's not always what you think, and that's where, good coaching can really help you out, is that I don't remember when this was in my career, but somebody pointed out that uh, a huge way that expel energy and direct energy, it's like think about just pay attention to the way that you open a door whenever you enter the room or whenever you open the building. Because it's like we've all been around this person's like, especially, where you've got those ones where you have to like push it, and it makes all kinds of racket. Somebody that's agitated and irritated and has all kinds of negative energy, whenever they hit that door, it makes a sound. And everybody that is within earshot knows that it's like there's some bad vibes that are going on here. And so it's like you said, it's all these little things. It can be as simple as a look, as simple as the way that you walk into a room, but it's something that we all need to we just all need to you just need to be aware of it. You need to respect it, right? That you are always putting out the vibe, and keeping an eye on the way that you're putting that out in the world is a really helpful thing.
It's okay. So now all of the coaches know why I invited you onto the podcast. He's delightful. He's the visionary of an energy company, and he knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
The energy. One of my coaches, he said to me early on when I call myself a baby coach when I was just starting to be a professional coach. I was really irritated with something in my life on this topic over here.
Mhm.
It was actually how I related to my husband.
Okay.
I'm like, but I can, everything else in my life, I can look at with open and positivity and energy and light and grace. But why does this man bring me down?
Mhm.
And my coach said to me, shared with me, he said, Jill, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So the way you open the door. Now, of course, I was just really pissed off at my coach because he didn't help me fix my husband. He was like, "Oh, yeah, so now I know that is our partners are beautiful teachers for us." But I was a baby coach. The way we do anything is the way we do everything. If we're not super happy with the way our energy is coming off, then that's a really great sign of where to dig.
So
Where to dig.
yeah, I think so. I think that it's I don't know. I guess the whenever what is your like warning sign, I guess? Like, because
Mm,
obviously there's sometimes where you are going through like really significant strife if it's in like, that either you have some kind of really significant thing happening at work and you're bringing it home and bringing that energy to your
mhm.
family, or vice
Yep.
versa. You got something going on in personal life and you're bringing it into the office. And I think that it's especially for those of us that are really invested in our careers and really love what we do, y- you know, when you have something that's kind of happening outside the walls of work and you like I think that it's natural that, work is the place that you would take that to because it's like, hey, maybe I
Mm,
can't control what's going on in this aspect of my personal life
yeah.
right now, but like I'm going to work. This is my place where like this is where I kind of excel. And so I think that it's an easy trap to fall into. Now that you are less of a baby coach, have you noticed anything that's like an early warning sign of like, hey, dude, check your energy and maybe you need to start looking for some of these places to dig?
Mhm. So absolutely. Thank you for asking. Coaches, Travis, sometimes we do timeouts
Okay.
so I can highlight really cool things that
Hmm.
are happening. What Travis just did, coaches, watch that. That's called a role reversal. So he just asked me a question. Now we're going to like this is beautiful. This is when we go into share it all because he's really wanting my insights. And then we also watch out for that so that it doesn't all become about me instead of about the person we're coaching. Right now we're not coaching, we're just having a conversation, but watch that. That's a really cool thing you just saw Travis do so masterfully. Travis, I do have things that I where I notice these things. And much like you, because now we're really good friends, so I know you geek out on this too. Now I prevent them.
Okay.
I'm in the energy where I prevent um you know what, we should make up a name for this, like an energetic, an unintentional, energetic, what would you call it at Catco when something cuts off the energy with your equipment?
Oh, I mean, it could be let me see. You could
A,
call it a
a
free.
block.
Yeah, you call it a you call it a freeze up. You could call it a
Freeze up. I want to do it. Let's
do
just
it.
do it.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
love it. First
Roll.
one, best one. An unintentional, energetic freeze up where my beautiful magical energy is not flowing in the way I intended it to. Uh and we all have those. We all have those. So a couple of things. Number one, when it happens, we have a process we call let's look at that with a flashlight
Mhm.
versus a hammer.
Okay.
And we get really curious.
Yeah.
Really curious. Oh, where is that? But to prevent it, I have 4 little things that I do, and I teach this to the coaches as well, and this is very popular. Hopefully, people have already heard of it. It's called HALT.
Halt.
I know that if I look at my HALT acronym, that this is the very best way for me to ensure the energy is
Mhm.
flowing.
Okay.
The energy is flowing through the pipes, if you wanna say that. Here it is. Number 1, hungry.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I am not hungry.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? It's a simple little thing. It's a simple little thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gone hours without eating where I know what my eating thing is, and then I do. I have a freeze up. So
Hmm.
hungry. The next one is angry.
Mm.
If I come into a situation and I know I am angry about something, then I know I need to, in coaching magic, we call it an emptying practice. We just take a deep breath and we empty that, we let it go, or we invite it to let us go.
Hmm.
It's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, but the angry, if something has made me angry, am I going to walk into a session with Travis and his team? No, I'm not. I'm going to take a beat,
Mm. Okay.
give it a minute.com.
Yep.
Most emotions can pass in about 90 seconds in
All right.
healthy adults. Yeah.
Okay.
So hungry, angry. Here's the next one, lonely.
Okay.
If I'm just not feeling connected, Travis, like maybe with you and your team, if I wasn't feeling connected to your passion of the energy resilience,
Mhm.
I would go back in there and I would say, remind myself why I'm doing this. So that lonely one for me takes on some connection. And then the last one is tired.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
You got it.
oh,
You
yeah.
guessed it. I could have let you guess. Yep. But that spells halt. I'm a big fan of a lot of sleep. I think it's one of my best unique abilities since
Yeah.
I sleep really well.
So the, one of, Crystal, my wife, who's a very, very talented people manager, when she was working with one of her colleagues, she and I still, this has been years ago that this happened, but she's on the phone with one of her reports or on a call or meeting. And again, this was just like this person she was working with, just nothing good was happening. It was just all bad, just so negative, whatever. And, Crystal's trying to put out the fires or do whatever. And then like, she gets off the call, and then, like, an hour later or something, Crystal gets hit up on Slack, and it's just like, "Hey, I had some water and a snack, and now I feel a lot better about all that stuff that we were talking about and stuff." It's just like, yeah, no, I mean, like, Crystal and I do check in on that every once in a while where it's just like you get to that spot where you just haven't had anything to eat in a while, and then all of a sudden you're
That's
just like,
right.
"Well,
Like,
I had some
could
water and a
we
snack, and I
eat
feel better."
first
Yeah.
and then talk about
Oh,
this?
yeah. Very few things in life are gonna be worse on the other side of a good meal. So,
That's right.
yeah.
And Travis, you and I have shared plenty of good meals for
Mhm.
sure. But also, coaches, just like when we're creating space, make sure you have snacks, make sure you have water, make sure people feel connected. If there are angry moments, let them come, let them pass. So, Travis, thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
And I'm
That's a
also
good one, man.
wondering,
Halt. That's a good one. I mean,
halt.
yeah.
There you go, halt. And now I'm also curious if you have something, maybe that you guys say there at Catco, something that could maybe even resonate with this, keeping the energy flowing, because that's what you do. You keep the energy flowing through the pipes,
Yep.
making sure it doesn't freeze up, stop up, all of those good things. What would you say in the energy industry or at Catco there that keeps the energy flowing?
Well, I mean, this isn't like, product related. This is just more company related. But, our our first core value at Catco is proactivate, and this is really just we made up the word. If you aren't familiar with the word, don't. As far as I know, it's not in the dictionary. But
We love to make up words
y-
on Coaching Project
good,
podcast,
good.
so
So,
fully allowed.
yes, so proactivate, and what this is really about is that this is about, uh, you know, you focus on what we invest our energy in what we can control, and by doing so, we are able to control more things. And so we have one of the things that some people, struggle with occasionally is we have what we call 5-minute rule, where it's like if BS, which stands for bad stuff, but BS is going to happen. You're going to have a customer that's going to flake on you. You're going to have a vendor that doesn't meet a delivery requirement. You're going to have, somebody that didn't eat a snack before they came to work and is acting like a jerk. Whatever. It's like bad stuff is going to happen. This is inevitable, but it's like, look, our rule is that it's like, look, maybe I only need to give them 90 seconds, but it's like, you got 5 minutes. It's like, feel your feelings, do your thing, take 5 minutes. And then after that, we're done complaining. And we are now is the time of what are we going to do about it? And I think that that's something that is uh, um, tough in the moment sometimes, but very useful afterwards, because something that is, what makes a bad situation worse is whenever you sort of trap and victimize yourself in that situation. And so, you know, have 5 minutes where, somebody's freaking out, they're ranting and they're raving and whatever. And then once that time is up, you're like, okay, man, 5 minutes is up. What are we going to do about this? Even if it's something really, really small, even if it's something that's as simple as one of your halt things where it's just like, hey, you know what? Let's go grab a snack. And let's just let's eat a granola bar and wait and breathe in and out for 90 seconds, and then we'll see if this looks a little bit better on the other side of that. So, I think that's something that we do where it's like you just kind of time box it. It's like recognize that you are going to have these times where you have the, your energy freeze ups where you are not putting out the right kind of vibe and just like just take that time, but a small amount of time and then go then go do something about it. Taking that action is really a cure for a lot of bad vibes, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Travis, this is masterful, a masterful tool that you've just introduced us to. And I love that you're in the energy industry and it's more about the energy of the people.
Oh yeah.
It always was.
Yeah.
It always was. I want to pull a few threads here. One thing that Travis just shared with us that he does at his company is this principle: everything is allowed. Everyone's going to have a bad day. We're going to get a freeze up
Mhm.
in our energy. It's going to stop flowing. It does. It happens. We're humans. That's how we learn. But everything is allowed. Then he created space, 5-minute rule. He's used the words time boxing. He just created a space for people to just share it. Like, it's okay, it's happening, it's happening. Do what you need to do inside. But I love how you've ended this 5-minute rule when people get an energy freeze up. It's this one, this element of coaching magic is encourage the glimmer. Okay, now what are we going to do about it?
Mhm.
And let's move through it that way. Let's pull that thread. And now what? Proactivate.
Yeah.
And now what? This 5 minutes is really interesting to me. My dad taught me this years ago when a boy broke up with me,
Oh,
and I was really sad. I know.
devastated.
Thank you for feeling so. It was horrible. And he shared with me. He said, This probably feels so horrible to you." And I remember him just feeling like, oh my gosh, he gets me. Like, this is the most horrible I had ever felt
Yep.
or remembered feeling in my entire life. I was 16, 17. And he said, take 3 days, be absolutely miserable about it, get it all out, and then go back and live your life.
Mhm.
As I continued growing up, I heard one of my bosses, early bosses, she said, take a day, feel really bad about it,
Yep.
do all of your processing, and then move on. And then I heard somebody say 3 hours. Then I heard someone say 1 hour. And I heard you say 5 minutes. And the science of just an emotion, especially when we look at animals who are having an emotion who maybe don't have the frontal
Yep.
cortex that we do, it's about 90 seconds for an emotion, the energy of an emotion without a human attaching a story to it, because
Yep.
we can do that, really takes it to pass. So, like, I'm really into your 5 minutes.
Well, and I think too that you're like this is here's a challenge for anybody. The next time that you're going through something rotten, right? And like, look, like all of us are gonna like this is the other caveat that I make about BS, bad stuff, right? Uh, Things that have happened in your past and like trauma that you happen to be carrying around or head trash or whatever. These are very serious things or whatever. And so we, like this is not to make light of anything like that. But in your
No, no.
normal day to day, if whatever your equivalent of your, you're a teenager and you got broken up with, or, you have a customer that flaked on you, or, you know, for me, I get technology rage real bad. And so like whenever the internet is not working, some computer program's not working the way I think it is. It's like set a stopwatch for 5 minutes and get out a pen and paper and just write out all of the stuff that you were like super angry about or whatever. If you're anything like me, it's like you'll last about 90 seconds or so. I mean, I don't mean, and before you get sick of it, before you're just like, okay, it's like, what am I gonna do about it now? It's like I like your everything is allowed. It's like, hey, you do need to have that space. Get it all out. But, you know, and from if you're on the receiving end of this, if it's one of your team that or somebody that you are coaching or whatever that is the one that's dumping all of this on you, you mentioned like what your dad did. That's a huge thing because it doesn't work if you're getting it all out and you're all angry and frustrated and the other person on the other end is not making you feel heard. If you're not
Mm.
actually feeling acknowledged, because it's like, look, maybe your report is having a very significant overreaction to, UPS not showing up on time. Uh, But dude, your feelings are facts. The fact that they feel that it is that big of a deal, that is true. It is true that they feel that way. It might not be true that it's a big deal, but it is true that they feel like it's a big deal. And so you have to kind of, practice that good, uh, reflective listening, really, really hear, be empathetic, acknowledge, just hear and acknowledge them. And if you give them that space, dude, 5 minutes is more than enough time for when it comes to stuff happening in the workplace, just about everything. Yeah.
Just about everything. Travis, one thing that I have always appreciated about us working together is we're able to simplify things.
Yeah.
We're able to simplify things, pull the thread and simplify things. And that what you've just done for the coaches here, I'm loving this more and more of this podcast, is you're giving us the frame of reference of what it feels like to be on the other side of coaching. This is what coaches do. We are specifically trained and hired and expected to hold that space just for you to rant for a while.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm wondering if you remember or would be willing to tell the story about you were really upset about something. I don't even remember what it is,
Okay. That
but
that
maybe
happens.
you're like,
Okay,
"Go,
yes.
let me
Alright, let's
out."
roll. Okay.
And you walked into the room and you said to the team and me, "I need a minute to rant about this." Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
I don't mean, like, not specifically. I don't know. And
Okay.
that's
Can I tell the story? Do you have
absolutely.
permission?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Because it was such a let's see, I'm waiting for the word to land. It was a lesson in witnessing for me,
Okay.
how powerful witnessing can be. So in our sessions, the rule is you're not late. We start on time.
Yeah.
And Travis had something had happened. There was a phone call with a vendor that
Oh,
you were
yeah.
irritated
Oh,
about.
yeah. Now I
And
remember exactly what you're talking about.
okay, and he was late. So it's just not it's I mean, we
Yep.
broke a commitment to the team
Yep.
and to the agreement, and so we just layered on these pressures onto Travis. He walks in, we're ready to start, and he says, "Okay, now you can take the story from here."
Yeah, so the meeting in question is that I had, because this was coming into a quarterly planning session, and part of what we were looking at was, a significant portion of our budget that was tied up in working with this vendor who turned out to be not a good partner. And the phone call that Jill's talking about is that I eventually, like, escalated to my counterpart, who was the owner of this company, and I was my expectations about what fruit would come from that conversation were not met. It was just further evidence that this was just a really bad partnership, and we were just kinda stuck, sort of no way out. And so, I've got, like Jill said, is that number 1 is that this is not the right headspace that you want to be in heading into, like, planning your upcoming quarter. Quarterlies are typically, positive and, energizing, and so that's not the kind of energy that you want to bring into it. I'm dealing with the pressure of, like, hey, now I'm late. I don't like it when other people are late to these things. It's very I thought that was, so that was a big stressor. There was, the amount of money that was involved was a very large amount of money for our company. And I mean, I was just getting hit from like 5 different ways. And I just felt all of this weight on me. And my tendency, actually, in these moments that is that I hold it in. I'm not normally a sharer when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially as the owner of the company, and I was the person who was responsible for kind of getting us into this mess. There's a lot of this burden that was not really on the rest of the team, but I was just so weighted down by all this negative vibes that were associated with this whole situation, that I just I asked the permission, that I was like, and again, it's like I needed my 5 minutes of freak out. I needed my 5 minutes. I needed to use that 5 minutes to just go off about how these were just the most, irresponsible and, terrible people and all this other kind of stuff. And it's just like, I just needed to feel my feelings. And kind of like what you said, is that there is, um, I probably screamed and ranted about this in my car on the way over to the meeting, like, which I, do sometimes, but like you said, it's about, I don't know if this is what you're referring to about witnessing, but there was it is a different thing if you are, writing something down in a journal is, like, really effective. It's a completely different energy when you put it in an envelope and then put a stamp on it and send it to someone else. There's another person on the other end of this. And I think that in that moment, that's just what I needed, is that I just, you know, I I it's, maybe it's a little cathartic to shout and scream and, punch a pillow or whatever, but what I really felt like I needed is I needed to be heard. And, Jill and the rest of the team offered me that, uh, offered me that space, and I think it was probably a pretty good investment of those 5 minutes. I'm sure the quarterly went a lot better, and probably also was, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't bad to let the team see that I was kinda hurting and that I
Mhm.
was upset, so, yeah, that
There
was
was
yeah.
what you've just shared a beautiful, beautiful story with us of the power of witnessing and what I notice it does in the energy of a team. And when we say element of coaching magic, here we go, share it all. Share it all. It's so yes, it's about vulnerability, but it's also sharing the burden, sharing the energy. If Travis is coming here, up here, vibrating high, especially vibrating high in a negative state, and he doesn't dissipate his energy, think about like the static balloon, static, when you're all staticky and then you touch something that shocks a little bit. Well, yeah, it shocks a little bit, but it's whoosh, it's dispersing that energy a little bit. If he's coming in, vibing high at a negative level, his team, if he says nothing about that, his team absolutely can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Coach, you can feel it. And what we do, instead of knowing exactly what's on Travis's mind, we go to the University of MSU.
Make stuff up.
Yeah, exactly. Or I like to say shit.
No, okay.
We're
I didn't know
making
I don't
shit
I
up.
don't know what the rating was on this podcast, and so
I don't either.
yeah.
Who knows? But it doesn't. We go to the University of making shit up, and that creates a whole new energy. So I'm very, very much aware right now that we've just created a paradox for anybody listening. I gave the 4 things that I do to prevent me building up static, okay? Static energy.
Mhm.
I hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Beautiful. And I also hear us saying, when you do build this energy up, well then like get it out.
Yeah.
You've shared with us. Write it down. I love the I love the idea of set a timer 5 minutes, write it down. Within 90 seconds, you'll
Mhm.
be bored of your own
Oh,
BS.
yes, no doubt. And it's,
Bored of it.
well, and, like you said, is that I think that the halt thing is really good, that's like a good proximate check, but I also think that there are, like, number 1 is that not everything that goes on in business, life, whatever, can be solved with a granola bar or a power nap. And
Or a
so
nap.
yeah,
That's right.
not everything can, and I also think that there's, like, when it comes to kind of that buildup of pressure and
Mhm.
sort of negative energy, one of the things that I've found is that there are things that I know that when I'm doing these things consistently, like I stay pretty grounded and I stay like pretty positive and all that. Life happens and sometimes you start neglecting these things. And it's not the stuff where it's like, hey, I'm not eating or I'm not getting good sleep, but it's just like I'm not doing the things that I know that that sort of protect my energy. And so when that happens, it's like, look, maybe maybe the granola bar is not the gonna be the right answer or whatever. Like, I think that, something that I've seen, actually, we saw a couple times here last week, is that one time it was me, one time it was somebody on my team, is that, I came into work one day last week and I'd kinda not been like, I don't know 100% of what was going on, but I just, like, did not have it. I was definitely bringing in the wrong kind of energy, and you know, I got here, like, yes, I did go have lunch, and after I got back from lunch, I'm like, "Dude, still not having it." And so I just left. It was just like I left to go home to kind of like, "Hey, look, I just need to take care of myself." I ended up going on a walk, and, like, the rest of the day turned out alright. one of the guys on my team, Matt, he was actually not here that day, and so today was the first time I'd seen him in a while, and so I was just like, "Oh, yeah, dude, what happened to you on this day?" And he was like, I just had, I just had my annual review. Had a really super heavy like meeting days and I had all this stuff and like my energy was just not right. And so it's like I checked in with Tim, who's his boss or whatever, checked in with Tim and was just like, yeah, I ended up just kind of working from home and tackling some stuff from there. And that was a better environment for me that day. And I was like, dude, that's great. Cause he's got, he's a people manager. He's got people that work for him. Him taking the day to go home and, like, work from there instead of bringing that negative energy, it's like, dude, what a mature what a good, thoughtful,
Beautiful.
mature way of doing it, and it's like, and as he and I were talking about that this morning, he actually did make the comment that he's like, uh, it kinda takes some discipline to make those kinds of decisions. When I told him that I left or whatever, and he's just like, "Yeah, man, it's like sometimes you" and he's been working with me for a few years, and so I think that he knows there have been probably I think the subtext of that comment was, Travis, in the past, there are some times where maybe you wouldn't have had the presence of mind to go home. And so anyway, I think that
We've all
maybe he
been
and I
there.
are both evolving.
Been
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
The thing that I really appreciate that you just shared, Travis, you shared that, yes, Matt is this mature individual that knows, my energy's off, I gotta go work from home, but that also he's just had this beautiful example.
yeah.
This is what Travis does, and you've made it accessible for people to manage their own energy. So, just wanna acknowledge you for that.
Yeah,
I see that.
it's a tough thing, and I gave him the same bit of advice when it comes to managing energy that I've gotten from Gino and a couple of the speeches that I've heard him give about his disciplines, and it's about know your 100%.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because Matt, this guy that works with us, he's sort of at that stage in his career where he's sort of in the early phases of having that little bit of flexibility where he's not a clock in, clock out, show here up at these hours. The responsibility that he's getting is a little bit higher, and he's now kind of starting to sort of feel that out. And so I was just really encouraging him. I was like, "Look, this is a long process, and it's going to evolve and change over the course of your career as life kind of starts happening to you in different ways, in and out of these walls. But just be mindful of those times when you find that you're getting pressed a little too hard and you're getting a little frayed, or those
Yeah.
times where maybe you are maybe not putting forth the right amount of effort to kind of get to that sweet spot where you are, in flow and you're vibing and all that." And so it's, like I think that a lot of us have kind of, or maybe a little bit further along in that journey where you kind of have, sort of that idea of, hey, like, what is my 100%? What's that right
Yes.
level? And I think that those of us who have paid attention to it are very aware when we start violating it. And, you know, I think part of what was wrong last week is that it was just, not enough white space on the calendar. And
Yes.
that is not my element. That's not the way that I
Not my
function the best.
element.
And so, dude, that gets off a little bit. You start violating that, what's your 100%? And it's like, dude, energy can go south real fast.
Travis, what you've just done for us and what I see you doing for your team is you've just upgraded time management, which is where that 100%
Mhm.
comes from. We do the delegate and elevate. If you're looking for that exercise, just email me and I'll help you with that. Or Travis, email Travis. He'll help you with that. He loves to help. He loves to help
I do love
companies running on EOS.
I do.
Um, but what you've done is you've just upgraded that. I like to call it an evolution or an upgrade from time management to energy
Mhm.
management.
Yeah.
It really is all about energy management. We really do not control time.
No.
Last time I checked, we've all agreed this is our time structure and that's what we're going to do.
Yep.
It's 10 a.m. or it's 11
Yep.
a.m. Like we don't manage the construct of time, but we can manage our energy to it. One of the things I've noticed as I've gotten more into the creative side of coaching
Mhm.
is that if I have something creative to do, I match my energy. It's okay, this is what energy am I feeling right now? Am I feeling creative energy? Am I feeling very disciplined, like check off a list energy? And I match that to the task that needs to be done.
So,
And it's energy management I can get done in 10 minutes. What if I just tried to do it between 3 and 4 p.m.? It would take me an hour.
Oh, yeah, and
It's
so
energy management.
okay, so I might have starting out, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, and maybe this is a point of clarity that anyone listening might benefit from as well. Is it so you're talking about kind of matching your energy to, like, what it is that you're putting on your schedule where it's just like, "Hey, if this is my magic time, if this is my creative time, I wanna schedule my creative work during that block." What I thought that you were saying at first was that you were just kind of like sounded like you were a little bit more like go with the flow of just like, "Well, whenever
Just
I
do
feel
what I
like
feel
being
like doing.
creative, I'll
Yeah,
do this, whatever." So, I but I
because that's not what I'm saying
yeah,
at
no,
all.
like, so I got that, but I do think it's an interesting balance, and maybe I would like a little advice about this, is that, like, how do you I read this I read this great quote, have you ever read The War of Art?
Oh, long time ago,
Yeah,
but now that I know I'm an artist, I wanna go read it
yeah,
again. Thank you.
you should. It's a good read, it's a quick read, but,
Yes.
I don't remember if this was the author whose name escapes me at the moment. I don't remember if this is the author saying this or if he was quoting someone else, but he was talking about writing, and he says that he's, like, asking somebody like, "Hey, when do you write?" He's like, "I only write whenever inspiration strikes." Like, but as
An
it
inspiration
happens, inspiration strikes every morning at 9:00.
at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And so, anyway, but
Yeah.
so anyway, what is the balance of kind of like that discipline of, hey, like I want to start like I need to show up and put in the work on
Mhm.
a consistent
Yeah,
basis,
I do.
compared to like figuring out, hey, when is this kind of magic time? And maybe especially if you're kind of early in sort of figuring out where that time is, what advice do you have for dialing that in?
I have something I'm playing with right now, and
Okay.
it's really working.
Okay.
So, it's working with a handful of other creatives. Um, I call it Herkel-Durkel discipline.
Okay.
So do you know what Herkel-Durkel is?
I do not. And
I can't. I'm so excited that I get to be the one to introduce you to Herkel-Durkel.
okay.
And remember, I take liberties with things.
Okay.
So this is what I have
This
taken
is
the liberty of, the
Jill's
definition
definition of Herkle-Durkle.
of Herkel-Durkel straight from Instagram. It is a German word that means you wake up, but you stay in bed.
Okay.
Have you ever had those where you wake up, you stay in bed, like you read the newspaper, you ponder, you daydream, but like a Saturday or Sunday morning when you don't jump straight out of bed.
Yeah.
That's the definition of Herkel-Durkel.
Okay.
The way I use it, I call it Herkel-Durkel discipline because I match the two. So I have a list. I know exactly what I need to get done in the day, in the week. I know what I need to get done, but then I ask myself, what of these do I feel like doing?
Mhm.
Now, please, everybody, understand, especially if you're early in your career or you're feeling like you still need to master just plain old discipline. Like every morning, I feel inspired at 9 o'clock. Please do that first. I have done that. I have done that. It has served me well. It started to be just too tight and not allow me to be creative. So now I look at a list and I say, what type of energy do I have right now?
Hmm.
I have, I want to call and connect with Travis energy, but that actually was on my list.
Mhm.
That's the discipline part. I'm not like, I feel like going to the movies.
Yeah.
That's not on my list. So I'm matching my energy with the task I know I need to do. And here's the thing, because I'm doing, lining up that energy with the task is so fast and so good.
Yeah.
Like I do a first take. Um, I'm doing a big workshop on rocks, like
Okay.
setting rocks, hitting rocks in about a month for a company. And they wanted a video of an overview. Well, it was flowing through me right there. It was the ideas were flowing through. I'm like, push, record, and do that.
Yeah.
In the olden days,
Mhm.
a year or two ago, I would have said, well, calendar that for me and I will do it when it shows up on my calendar. And I still do that a lot of the time. But now Lindsay will give me these big chunks of time, which I call Herkel-Durkel discipline. And it's when the creative things come through. And then when there's 2 or 3 things left on my list, I have actually more time to get those done. And I have the habit of completing everything on my list. I'm very dependable.
There you go.
So you could try some Herkel-Durkel
I
discipline,
like
Travis.
it. No, I like it. It's
You'd like?
yeah, it's a, You know, doing kind of creative work is
Mhm.
different because in some ways, like you said, is that you just kind of have to you do have to sort of let it come. You have to kind of allow that space. But at the same time, man, it's like so if you look at anybody that has put together great like anything that is kind of the stereotypical version of creative. I've got my own thoughts about that word, but anyway, like books, movies,
Mhm.
paintings, anything, sculpture, whatever, music,
Yep.
dude, so much of about it is just showing up
Mm,
and being
it's just
consistent.
showing up. That's how I wrote all 3 of my books like that,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful and sometimes torture, but always I learned. My coach said, "This is how you write a book, Jill. You put your fingers on the keyboard.
Yep.
Step 1, put your fingers on the keyboard. Everything else happens I don't know." He says, "I have no more steps for you. Step 1, put your fingers on
Yeah.
the keyboard.
I like it. I like it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it."
I think that that is kind of a good, like, that's also a good, probably kind of a good thought to explore is what is the first thing that needs to happen? Where it's like, because,
Mm.
there is that thing that it's like you said, is that it's, the natural consequence of not putting your fingers on the keyboard is that you're not writing, right? Like that's it. And so there are other things that may feel like precursors to that that are not necessarily on, they can be useful, they can be whatever, like getting the ambiance right, whatever. I think most of us have had this experience of like, dude, a lot of your preparation is just friggin' procrastinating, man, where it's like, oh, well, I've got to go to my favorite spot. I got to do my thing. It's like, look, I'm all about, setting up your environment, getting things set. Like, I like being organized. That's great. But what is that thing that it's like, if my fingers aren't on the keyboard, then I'm not writing. Like, and kind of finding a way to
Beautiful.
jump into that and recognize that it's like,
Yes.
that's, that's kind of a good question. It's like, when does the clock start? It's like clocks, you were on the clock when once your fingers are on the keyboard. So,
Yes, and, just keeping it in, I'm listening for these themes of energy. It's when do you know that the energy is
yeah.
flowing?
Yeah.
It's, it might be in some of your preparation, but what's that key thing? What's that key indicator, the key measurable
Yeah.
that that energy is flowing? I'm just now coming to this, right, like, live. This is hitting me.
Okay.
Like, when do I know that my energy is flowing? And my hunch is I'm smiling. I'm just like regular energy. If there's like a smile, like even inside, it's the energy's flowing.
Yeah.
If there's some kind of confusion
Mm.
or,
Oh,
and usually my confusion turns into curiosity pretty fast. But if there's confusion or like misunderstanding, I can just sense in my body right now there's not a smile inside.
yeah.
And whatever I need to do, usually that curiosity switch to get me back smiling, my energy is flowing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have some of that in the industry too of like, unplug, you
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
unbreathe,
Yep. Yes.
you gotta thaw.
You gotta think, yeah, it's not gonna flow if it's frozen up, man. That's not
But we don't unthaw, right? We either thaw
yeah. Thaw,
we
unfreezing, I feel feels more accurate
unfreeze.
to say that you're unfreezing it. Thawing sounds like you're just, like, waiting on it, like it's a turkey in your
Just
refrigerator,
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Unfreeze, so like there's
Gotta
some
unfreeze.
active in it.
Gotta be active, that's right.
Proactivate.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Travis, is there any other wisdom you want to share with us from the flow of energy, from what you know from the energy industry, or from being this, amazing leader who is very people focused about energetic listening or anything about energy before we wrap it up?
I mean, I think that it's a like one of the things that I've came to. It took me a while to come to this appreciation. Like I just kind of like this was my grandfather started this business, and I today's actually my 13th work anniversary at Catco. Believe it or not, feels
Oh,
yeah,
congratulations.
feels like a long
Woo!
time. It's also crazy because it's like 13 years. It's like, dude, kindergarten through senior year of high school. It's like I've been doing this as long as I was doing that, which feels weird. Yeah. So, but it took me a while to kind of come to this realization, because like I didn't it's not like I grew up like, I didn't grow up wanting to do this, right? Like, this wasn't
Yeah.
something where, like, I worked here in the summers or anything like that. My first day 13 years ago, my first day here, my dad sat me down, who was running the company at the time, sat me down in the conference room and is like, "This is a catalytic heater. This is what it does, and this is how it works." Like, that was my level of knowledge. But after I've been here for a few years, the first thing that I really fell in love with was business. I really did enjoy, like, I just love the challenge of business. It's just, it's just so I just have so much fun doing this. Um, but the next thing that I fell in love with was the energy industry. And it's the people in the energy industry drive me nuts sometimes, but whenever you just realize that it's like this is abundant, accessible energy is the thing that enables thriving societies. Like, that is it. That is the thing that enables it. And it's just, you look around here, you look around, like, how did all this stuff get made? It took energy. How are we communicating across, the internet? It's like with energy. It takes it's just such a critical part of the way that we live our lives. And all around the world, places that have a ton of abundant energy have thriving societies, and places that don't do not. And that is the thing. Whenever you and I had this conversation, it's like that analogy just hit, and it's just like the that is the thing that is the difference between a great team and the ones that are not, it is that it is all about the energy. And just like anywhere that doesn't have energy, right? Like, anybody that doesn't have abundant energy, it's not they don't have access to it, it's that they just have not found a way to release it. And so, like,
Right.
anywhere that you go in the world, there's ways to get energy, but it's not it takes, infrastructure, and it takes, a lot of people to get it out of the ground, or out of the ground or out of the sky or wherever you're pulling it from, and direct and release it. At teams, it's the same way. It's like energy, it's like it is the only thing, is that if you're having trouble, look for where it's stuck and get it unstuck. And here's my favorite, I got my animals with me, right? Mike, here's Woodfoot the elephant. He's like one of our little EOS animals, and so we named him Woodfoot because it stands for "We Don't Fear the Truth." That's the place that I go. If you feel like energy is stuck, it's probably because there is something that is true that people are afraid to say. If you've got some stuck energy on your team, that's the first place that I would go look, is that, like, where is it difficult right now for people to be open and honest, and why? And that's kind of the first question. Once you figure that out, if all progress starts with the truth. Once you're able to say it, then you can make a lot of progress from there. So anyway,
Wow.
I don't know if that was wise, but that's just
Travis,
that's
that no, that was just it was absolutely a perfect picture of coaches, like, this is what we do.
yes, it is what you
We are specifically trained and skilled at identifying stuck energy and helping it release. One of the elements of coaching magic is I am magic. And we believe the humans and the teams that we coach, they are also magic. They're energetic beings.
Mhm.
They're ev- everybody has the energy. So where is it stuck? How can we help remove those blockers and let them flow?
Yeah. Well,
Perfect.
last nugget, though, I think, is that this is something that I think is just a good reminder for anybody that's in the coaching business, as somebody that's on the receiving end of a lot of coaching, is that definition of learning, same stimulus, different behavior. And so it's a lot of us that y'all are probably charged with coaching. It's very easy for us to fall in love with ideas and philosophies, and we can sit here and riff about all of this stuff, and the way, the hypotheticals and all that. At the end of the day, what we guys are, as somebody that pays, for a lot of coaching, what we're ultimately looking for is different behavior. And so that's kind of the last test that I would throw out to you guys, is that if if the if the vibes are there, but the actions are not, there is still some stuck energy somewhere. And so just dig in and
That's right.
figure out, hey, what is it that you're afraid of? Why are you, why is it that you're not being different? Because if same stimulus, same behavior, we have not yet learned. Why is that?
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. We have one last thing we like to do on the Coaching Magic podcast, and it's a game. Do
Let's
you
roll.
want to, Travis, do you want to play a
Of
game?
course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, there is this beautiful box of cards,
Okay.
It's called Sweet Ass Affirmations. This is the one I'm currently playing with,
Okay.
number
All
2.
right.
And I'm gonna shuffle the cards,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna pull one out,
All right.
and then you get to say how this is true for you right now,
Okay.
or even how it's not true for you, that's fine. But you just get to say something.
Sure.
You wanna play?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So, I've shuffled the
Okay.
cards, and here I'm picking one here. This is great.
Oh, you're making me
This is
nervous.
perfect for our
Make it
conversation.
making me nervous. All right, here we go.
They're so fun. Okay, here it is. Ready?
Yep.
I am a contagious fireball of laughter and joy wherever I go. This happens every time. We have a conversation about something, and then the cards know the truth.
The cards know the truth. What is it one more time?
Okay,
Yeah.
ready? I am a contagious fireball of laughter and joy everywhere I go.
Oh man, I like that. That's the I am a contagious
Contagious energy,
fireball
contagious
of
fireball
laughter and joy everywhere I go. Uh,
everywhere I go.
so this one is particularly funny for me because one of the very first things that uh one of the very in one of our very first sessions that I ever had with Jill, I uh very emphatically reminded her that I'm not a effing cheerleader. And so, if someone were to come to me and say, it's like, how would you describe Jill? I think that I might say, she is a contagious fireball of laughter everywhere that she goes. I don't know that there's a lot of people that would say that about me. Um,
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
but
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you for sharing because I was hoping that that story would come up at some point.
Oh yeah.
There's there and that does happen. That does happen to me. Um, I've had coaches say to me, "But I can't help teams with energy because I don't have your level of energy, and it's not about my level of energy. I just have this unique way of vibing that is feels like a cheerleader."
Yeah.
That's not the point. It's being a contagious fireball of what was it?
Laughter
Laughter
and
and
joy.
joy wherever I go. Um, Travis, I know you to be this. It's not my way, but it's your
It
way.
is this is a deeper philosophical conversation, but I think that at the end of the day, it's like the wrong way. I think this is probably true for coaching as well. It's like the wrong way to lead is inauthentic, and for me to like for me to be a cheerleader or whatever, like it would not come across the right way because it's like, look, if I
Mm,
try to pretend to be Jill, it's going to look like I'm wearing a ridiculous costume. That's not the
right.
and people can tell whether you're being sincere. And something that I think that I am m- much more likely to be described in something along those terms. Again, contagious fireball, laughter, and joy. That might be a little bit of a stretch, but I think that now I am. Well, I'll say this about that statement. You got a much better shot of people describing you that way if you're living in your unique ability. That is my
There we go.
advice. And so
There we go.
my
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, vibes and energy around here got a lot better whenever I settled on this and I said, guys, I've
Right.
got two things. I come up with ideas and I coach the team. That's it. That's my only job. I don't do other stuff. And now it's like there's probably a lot more laughter and joy around here after I figured that out. I think that's for sure.
I'm gonna wrap that into one more insight that I'm gonna pull from what you just said is that inauthenticity is actually a blocker
Mhm.
or an energy freezer.
Yeah.
It freezes up your energy. And if we're trying to go around it and trying to be somebody else, it's an energy blocker,
Yeah.
an energy freezer upper.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Travis, thanks for playing the game today. That was just I got my wildest dreams came true because I wanted to hopefully we were gonna tell that story about different types
Mhm.
of energy. And
Yep.
then there we go.
There
Thank
we
you,
go.
Fireball card.
Yeah.
It's great. I love you, my brother.
Love you
Thanks for
too.
being on Coaching Magic.
Thanks a lot for having me. It's a blast.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you for playing with me today in the land of coaching magic. If you want more magic, I invite you to explore www.jillyoung.com. This is where you can see all the shenanigans I've created for you to expand your world of coaching. See you there. And remember, you are magic.